it's just an example. Purdue losing to Fresno State is okay. We still win the Big Ten West. But me,
Billy Napier gets fired. I'm just kidding.
hey, really the best time of the year. I will be seated watching the Red Zone for 7 hours on Sunday. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Backyard Banter. That's James, Tanner, Johnny. We're gonna get right into a huge week in all sports. Again, approaching the best time of the year. MLB playoffs start Tuesday. These two are not excited about it. I'm ecstatic for it. NFL and college football really getting into the swing of things. There's already bye weeks in the NFL.
Still excited for MLB playoffs.
It's bold wearing this hat.
You gotta understand one thing about being a Cubs fan. We were used to not making the playoffs, but I would still watch it.
I'm ecstatic. But before we get to the MLB, we're gonna go right into college. And the game I want to start with, Ole Miss LSU. What a barn burner.
Yeah.
And I said it on this very show last week. LSU secondary sucks. Ole Miss is gonna win. And what happened?
I believe Ole Miss won.
Yeah, Ole Miss won. Jackson Dart. He had 389 yards, 4 touchdowns. Dog.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns. Not touchdown.
Yeah.
That would be singular. But Daniels was just as good. 414 yards, 4 touchdowns.
If not better.
Yeah. But God, LSU's defense, tough to watch.
Well, here's the thing about this game, because I was just looking at like the stats and the box score and everything. Yes, the secondaries on both teams are bad, but what came down to it was Ole Miss was able to run the ball better than LSU.
Over
317 rushing. That's incredible.
And they
right?
ran it. The Judkins kid had over 30 attempts.
Yeah.
So they stuck
It's
with
incredible.
it.
So
and scoring
yards.
that many points while running that many times, especially without the first down, stopping the clock on every first down, it's impressive. Shout out Lane Kiffin.
It is so
and we talked
impressive.
about him not having a marquee win literally last week. And this is a big win.
This is it.
For me, this game kind of goes back into the theme of the SEC West. So a couple weeks ago, Texas goes into Bama, beats Bama, and we're like, who's going to win the SEC West? Well, a couple weeks later, it looks like it's probably going to be Bama because they just kind of rolled over.
Still a lot of ball left.
But there's still a lot of ball left. And actually, I think we get not final answer, but another big answer this Saturday with the Bama-Texas A&M game. But Ole Miss, that's a big one for them. LSU, I think your prediction about them is kind of trending to be correct.
But also, they're still in it. They only have one conference loss, similar to Florida.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Florida's anywhere near. We'll get to that later. But one conference loss. So they were kind of in the same situation last year. They lost to Florida State in the opener, lost to Tennessee early, and then ran the table, won the SEC West.
Yeah.
Their LSU's offense can compete with anyone. Their defense line can compete with anyone. But they don't run it particularly well, and their secondary is it's rough. But
Okay, I want to talk about that play in the end zone that they reviewed and called the touchdown. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Which one?
The last LSU touchdown. Threw it to the right pylon, and they reviewed it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember it or not, but to me, that's one of the worst calls that I can remember. Are you still sticking with it being a touchdown?
It was a touchdown.
Do you know what play I'm talking about?
vaguely.
The ball was clearly moving around while he was falling, and don't you have to reestablish possession?
I think once. I don't know the exact rule because it's different all the time. But
And it's different between NFL and college football and everything. But I'm still sticking with my opinion that it's one of the worst. If LSU were to have won that football game and they would have won because of that play,
it would have been bad.
I would have been upset for Ole Miss,
but
and it could have caused controversy because it was trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like how big of a mistake that was.
I wanna talk about Ray Davis, 280 yards and 4 touchdowns.
We were getting to that. Don't even worry.
I think we're ready to hear you talk about the Gators. Again, this is Kentucky's running back, 280 rush yards and 4 touchdowns on the day.
He averaged. There was a point where he was averaging like over 17 yards a carry.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And I was telling James this earlier. I'm not mad that Florida lost the game. Obviously, I'm upset, but I didn't have Florida going 10-2. Right? They're a 7-8 win football team. It's the fact that the same reasons they lost to Utah is why they lost to Kentucky. Poor discipline. Had more penalty yards than rushing yards. Failure to establish the run. Gets hit in the mouth on the first drive. And then, a special teams mistake, Florida finally starts settling defensively. The dude tries to jump over the blockers in front of the punter, and apparently that's a 15-yard penalty. Very next play, 75-yard touchdown for Ray Davis, who was incredible.
Yeah.
Devin Leary threw for 69 yards, and they won by almost 20 points.
Yeah.
That just proves like Devin Leary's not good. He missed a lot of throws, and he should have had a pick six, but Jason Marshall dropped it. Two things Florida needs to do: they need to hire a new special teams coordinator, and Billy Napier needs to hire offense coordinator. I will send Mayo the clip of the jet sweep that they run. Ricky Pearsall comes in motion, jet sweep, handoff to Etienne Johnson every time. They ran at least 13 times. And if I know it's coming, do you think the Kentucky defense coordinator knows it's coming?
Probably.
Pearsall, the exceptional wide receiver who's in jet motion. They'll start on the ground with Johnson.
Yeah, again, Mertz was solid. All right, he was fine. Pearsall was fine. It's the defense not being able to tackle, lack of discipline, and repetitive play calling. Florida had a 4th and 3 when they were still in the game, and they had a 3-by-1. There was the only other run set that they had. 4th and 3, run to a wall.
Yeah.
And it pains me to say this, Kentucky's a better football program than Florida is right now.
Oh.
Shout out Mark Stoops. He hit the portal hard, and they were great. They got playmakers outside. Ray Davis is awesome. They're going to get killed by Georgia this weekend.
Well, they've been on the come up for the last couple of years, right?
But they have a defensive lineman too. His name is escaping me. He's a big dude. You know what I'm talking about, Tanner? He's good. And I said Florida was going to win because I thought they would win the battle in the trenches. Not only did they lose the battle in the trenches, they got dominated.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see.
Kentucky rushed for 260 more yards than Florida.
Yeah. And
Well, I would like to talk about Kentucky a little bit here. Sorry to move off
No,
Florida.
you're good. I would love to move on.
Kentucky has 7 games left in the season. 5 of them are against ranked opponents.
This
Their
is tough.
next 3 is at Georgia versus Missouri versus Tennessee.
This is tough.
It's going to get brutal for Kentucky. We're going to see how real they are.
Yeah.
We're going to see how real. I do think they're pretty good, but
I think in the second half, the rushing attack really slowed down, and they still tried to run it, but Florida locked in after the first drive of the third quarter. So I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball that much against Georgia. And having have Devin Leary make throws on the road in Sanford Stadium in a night game is not going to happen.
No, yeah.
And we'll get to Georgia in a second. One more note on Florida. Billy Napier has 9 losses at Florida. 7 of them are on the road. The other one is a neutral site bowl game, and then 1 at home. Their inability to win on the road is a problem because the team that beat Tennessee could have beat anyone in the country. And that first half Florida team that played Tennessee, so it's there.
Right.
So again, Napier's a great CEO, he's just not the best play caller, but sometimes you don't need to be. Delegate. He needs to learn how to delegate. But
How are you?
yeah, literally, actually, my flag football coaching days. I bet you I'd have more than 2 run play designs though.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get off that. Let's talk about Notre Dame, man.
Let's talk about
Sam Hartman, dog.
Yeah.
Even though he can't throw worth anything right now, that 4th and 16 that he had scramble to extend the game and save their season, that takes some balls, man, to do that.
Well, and he said it. He's like, they're like, when they interviewed him, they're like, what was going through your mind? He's like, it was just lucky. Like, it is, right? Like, you don't see that happen very often, right? Because it's not like he ran and juked somebody and got an extra yards. He flat out ran 16 yards and then got hit and was like, oh shoot, we got a first down.
Yeah.
It was interesting football.
And he put his shoulder down to go get it.
It was something. We were in T-shirts in the garage.
James, I think James, the final 10 minutes of the game, I don't think he moved and I don't think he said a word.
I didn't.
He just sat there with a blank face.
Because I was upset, right? There was some play calling issues. It was just sometimes just inept plays, right?
Yeah,
like
anemic.
It was just. I don't think inept and anemic are the same.
And they're both bad.
Okay. Anyway, it was a rough stretch there, and then you give us the ball back and
91 yards, I'm pretty sure. And
here's the thing: we could have settled for 3 there, right? But you hand the ball off to Audric, and he just.
And Freeman even said in the post-game interview,
finds a way to get a touchdown.
He was like, we didn't necessarily want a touchdown there.
No.
We were trying to get a field goal, but this
And you can tell, right? By running the ball there, you're like, okay, they're playing for field position. Yeah. Maybe they're setting up for, maybe the kicker wants it on the left hash instead of the right hash. Sure. But it's a huge win, right? Because at the end of the day, we've talked about it with Michigan. We've talked about it with other teams. Yeah. You play who you play on the schedule. Mm-hmm. This was a big game for Duke. It was a huge game for Notre Dame. Yeah. Notre Dame, luckily, got the best of Duke in the last couple of minutes. I'm not sure if what's his name's okay.
Riley Leonard?
Yeah,
Is Leonard
okay.
okay?
I don't know.
My concerns with Notre Dame moving forward is, in their 2 big games now, their offense has really struggled to score and not necessarily move the ball, but just finish drives. I think that's a big problem, especially against Louisville this week. I don't think Louisville's a great defense, so I wouldn't be shocked if Notre Dame comes out and puts up some points. But Jeff Brom, especially in games where he's a big underdog, like, he is going to scheme something up. He's going to run trick plays. He's going to be aggressive. Notre Dame's going to have to score to beat Louisville, I would imagine.
And we were also out 3 of our best wide receivers.
Yeah.
You know, like Mitchell Evans, our tight end, had the best game. He had
He was good.
140 yards or whatever.
Yeah.
We were talking about it. We were dissing Cole Kmet during the whole.
And Cole Kmet went crazy.
And of course, Cole Kmet goes crazy. But we were like,
Yeah.
oh, Notre Dame tight end. But I was like, very impressive win because I was nervous about this Duke game because they're a good team, right? And they were able to run the ball well. Leonard's a better passer than I thought he was, and he was actually a very, very good quarterback. I'm nervous for Notre Dame. You know, Louisville, it's a big game this week, and then you're like, okay, now we got 3 games. Oh, now we got USC, right? And here's the thing. I know Louisville's up next, but this USC game is already scaring me because of how many points they can put up, and I don't know if we can put that up. I don't know if we can put that up.
Tanner, you got another game, or you got one more?
I got some other games, but I think we can talk about them when we go through our top 10. I would like to. You guys got to talk about your teams. I'd like to talk about my team.
Yeah.
Big 44-19 win over Illinois. Hudson Card looked good. For the first time this year, Coach Walters called the defense. He won defensive coordinator of the year last year in football, and he called the plays this week, and the defense looked really, really good. Granted, I don't think Illinois is like great by any means, but it was exciting to see. Purdue really had a good second half. It's the first game this year they put together 4 good quarters, and I think when you're dealing with a new coach, a bunch of new players in the portal, like, it takes some time, and I think they really put it together last week, and I'm excited for this next week's game because Cade McNamara is out for Iowa, and Purdue is only like 2-point underdogs on the road. And I think this is a game, if we can win, you're looking at a 7-win season, maybe 8, and if Walters gets that year 1, like, with this schedule, that's pretty impressive, so that would be exciting. So, big game Saturday for the Boilers. They looked good. James, how do you feel about Purdue? How was it? How was the time?
That was a good time. I mean, I knew it was going to be a good time, and like I said in the previous episode, I haven't been able to watch a ton of Illinois, and thank God I haven't been able to because they are awful. I mean, they are just bad. Like, they are just flat out bad. Again, Purdue, I was pretty impressed with them. I still don't think Hudson Card is that impressive of a quarterback, but he played good, right? He played good enough to win the game. The defense did look really good. So I'll give you the defense. Hudson Card's still question mark there for me, but this Iowa game's interesting, right?
Yeah.
We can talk about it later on the week, but it'll be an interesting football game, that's for sure.
Now we're going to move into our top 10 of the week. I'll go first. Number 10, I have Oklahoma. It's time to show them some respect. They scored 50 in 3 out of their 5 games. We'll see what they're about this weekend. They play Texas. But 9 out of USC. Had a dominant first half, terrible second half. Again, their defense can't stop a bloody nose, much less Shedeur Sanders, much less when they play Bo Nix in a few weeks. So Caleb Williams, 6 touchdowns, though. He's unreal. 8 out of Washington. They fell for me because Arizona has been one of the worst programs, like, probably in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
And they only won by 7. Penix, I mean, he still padded his stats a little bit, but yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, 10, I have Washington. They fell for me. Again, you're going to Arizona. Take care of business, right? Take care of business. You want to fight for a national championship, take care of business. Obviously, they won, but you got to beat Arizona by a large margin there. So, Washington at 10, Notre Dame at 9. Again, that's definitely a little biased, but Duke was a good team, and you take care of business. It's a big win. 8, USC. A little nervous because you cannot let Colorado get back in that football game. You can't do it. So, defensively wise, they're still not there.
Yeah.
But Caleb Williams is the number 1 draft pick.
Also, shout out Colorado. Again, they're like, that program's so bad last year. They're so bad in the trenches. Shedeur and Dion, like, that's coaching. A lot of teams quit when they're down 34-7.
Yeah.
Coaching, Dion brought him back up, and I don't know. I really like Dion. He's saying all the right things right now. But yeah, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. That was my 10, 9, and 8.
At 10, I got Oklahoma. I'm going to start giving them their respect as well. Dylan Gabriel, I just want to say this. He is a sleeper Heisman candidate right now.
Especially if they win this weekend.
If he gets a signature win this week and plays well and makes like a clutch play, like he's going to definitely be in the Heisman conversation the rest of the year. Big game coming up. I cannot wait for that one. 9, I got USC. I think I've had them 8 or 9, like 3 weeks in a row. No blood for USC this week. 8 is Ohio State. They dropped down after a bye
So
week.
low. Holy crap.
I know that's pretty low, but I just like.
Gosh,
I'm really impressed with my 7-6-5. They didn't play, and I dropped them. I mean, it kind of sucks for them. But
They have like the second best win in the country.
yeah, but the reason why I have
You don't care.
Exactly.
the
Put
reason
them
why
higher.
because I'm up for my 7-6-5. I'm just get into it. Penn State, I think, has blown out a couple teams of back-to-back weeks now.
And I'm completely on the same bandwagon, but Northwestern program that's shambles, and you're
Yeah.
tied at halftime. It's like the Washington thing. Like, it can't happen. I know they won by a big margin, took care of business, but I don't know.
Penn State at 7. I just think Penn State's a little bit
It's
better.
your
But
list.
6, Oregon. I wish there was a way I could have Oregon higher than 6 because I think they're
You
in
can't-
most years better than the 6th best team in the
You
country.
can put them above Washington.
But at 5,
Well,
I got
there's not
Michigan.
much higher. I'm looking at this list. There's not much higher.
Yeah, Washington is in the top 2.
By the way, Oregon and Washington both have byes this week,
And they play each other. It's gonna be awesome.
So yeah,
I
but
can't
5
wait.
I got Michigan. They finally looked good enough for me to move them up a little bit. So
Where were they at last week for you?
They were
like
low.
6 or
I
7.
had them at 6 or 7. They moved up for me too.
7 Oregon. Yeah, just Bo Nix is legit, right? And he's fun to watch, right? Penn State at 6. We were kind of following. What's cool about Purdue is they post all the Big Ten scores and only the Big Ten scores, and so I was kind of like keeping track of like what was going on in the Big Ten. So it's cool to see Penn State just taking care of business. And Ohio State, although they did not play, they still stay in my 5 spots.
Yeah, I have the same 7-6-5 as James, so he talked about them. I'm not going to get into them. 4, I have Michigan. They might have the best defense in the country. The way I know they play Nebraska, but the way they suffocate you and the way that they can pound the ball.
Yep.
And J.J. McCarthy is not necessarily a difference maker, but he's plenty good enough
Yeah.
to get you that. I've seen him in like top 5, 6 Heisman. I don't see that with him, but you know he's definitely top 15 quarterback in the country. 3, I have Florida State. They didn't play this past weekend, but they have the best 2 wins out of anyone in the entire country. 2, Texas. Like James said, took care of business, beat down Kansas, and then 1 out of Georgia. Going into Auburn is a very hostile environment, and this team isn't a finished product yet, but Brock Bowers, I think he's the best player in the country, best football player in the country.
Could be. Yeah.
Caleb Williams, him and Caleb Williams are 1 and 2, but yeah, Brock Bowers is stud.
So good.
And yeah, Georgia. We didn't really talk about that game, but it's good for them to show some resiliency and get a big win like that for a young team like that.
Yeah, no doubt. I have Florida State at my 4. Not a whole lot to say. Same with Texas at 3. Michigan is at my 2, but I'm pretty sure, 99% positive, I picked them to win the national championship, and I'm still sticking with Michigan to win the national championship. I'm very happy with how this defense has turned around because they still have the studs offensively, right? JJ's going to have to step it up in order to be a national champion caliber quarterback, but they can run the ball, they've got studs on the outside, and the defense is turning around. So now you get your coach back. I love Michigan. Obviously, they got a big game at the end of the year, which I still love how they continue to do that, which is incredible. But Michigan at 2 and Georgia at 1 because they don't lose, right? And if you don't lose, you're probably not going to move on my list. So
yeah, my top 4 remains the same as last week. Georgia goes into Auburn, close game, gets the win. However, I think that is one of those rivalry games that I think, especially whenever it's at Auburn, it's pretty close. I think you take the records, take the teams out. Always a close game. Get out with a win. Good job by Georgia. 3, Florida State. They were idle this week, right? Yeah, so no blood for them. 2, Washington. So against your guys' point of playing a close game, Washington.
he's about to defend Arizona.
Washington won by 7, and Arizona scored with a minute left, and that was the closest it was since the first quarter when it was 14-0. So like, the score wasn't even as close.
What do you mean?
Like
they scored a minute left because they were only down 2 possessions.
Yeah, but you guys are acting like it was a close game. Like
If they got the onside kick after they scored a touchdown,
I wasn't
they could've
saying
scored
that
to tie the game.
Arizona was ever like watching us like, wow, we're gonna lose this game. But Arizona's one of the worst programs in the country.
okay, but I think they were in control on the road in a night game.
Yeah, but they
The whole
need to do what they did in Michigan State and dominate those teams, just like Alabama went on the
And
road.
they only put up
dominated
31
Michigan
points
State.
against Arizona.
Okay. Well, 31's their lowest total of the year, so that validates my number
Yeah,
2
they're
spot.
on the down.
Number 1 is Texas. Staying there, big game against Oklahoma. Can't wait. I'm kind of pulling for Oklahoma. I would like a new number 1. So.
Yeah.
Washington Huskies number 1.
We're going to get right into the MLB. We're going to give you our entire playoff predictions. I love MLB baseball, especially the Rays are in it. 9-9 win season, by the way.
Don't care.
Cubs, but the Cubs did have a 90. So, they had a 92% chance to make the playoffs 3 weeks ago, and they're at home. Anyway,
Have the Rays done anything ever?
yeah.
What?
The last 5 years, they're been
No.
a franchise. than the Cubs.
I don't care
Okay,
about making the playoffs
The Cubs that have been a franchise since 1908 and probably before that.
before that.
Exactly. Before any of the
Hey,
World Wars.
I don't want you and I to ever hate each other. Rays baseball, Cubs baseball.
And by the way,
Okay.
you abandoned your fandom for the Bucks and they won again. You're the
It's me. But anyway, I hope the Rays do well. But you stirring up the pot makes me want to get.
I love it.
They're gonna get swept by the Rangers.
Okay.
It's just what's gonna happen.
Jordan Montgomery starting game 1 for the Rangers.
I know, isn't that awful?
Exactly. And that brings into our first point. We're going to do AL first. I think the Rays will win over the Rangers because the Rays, even though they lost so much, they lost McClanahan, Springs, Rasmussen, Boz, and Jason Adams is on the IL. Springs is on the IL. That's 6 legitimate pitchers that they have lost. 4 of those starters. Doesn't matter. Glasnow's going to go in and win Game 1. Eflin leads the AL in wins. Yandy Diaz, batting title champion, by the way, first time in Rays history. And I don't know. The Rays are built to win the playoffs. They have the deepest bullpen in baseball, and I think they'll outlast the Rangers.
So we're sticking in that series for now.
Yeah,
I have the Rays winning this one in 3 games. I think Glasnow gets the win, and then I think Eflin isn't quite enough to beat that Rangers lineup, and I think the Rays get it in a gritty Game 3. So.
Yeah, I don't really know. It's hard to predict, right? Because
It's
the
very hard.
thing I've learned about watching Jordan Montgomery, right? Because he's on the Cardinals there for a little bit, is you never know what kind of pitcher you're going to get out of him. He could go out there because even when you watch him, he's on the Yankees. He could go out there and throw and shove for 7 innings, right? I know this Rays team's really good, right? They've got a great lineup. They've got a great bullpen. I don't know if the Trop's going to be rocking or not.
Yeah, of course they put the Rays at a 3 o'clock Eastern
Well,
game.
of course they did.
No, but it's just unfortunate.
It is unfortunate,
I
but it's just as unfortunate as Miami making the playoffs because they have absolutely no fans. It is what it is. Like,
But the thing is, the Rays have fans, and I don't know. They're putting the Trop at a disadvantage. Put in that game, really. I worked parking all year for the Rays.
I know you
tell
have, but
the Trop will be filled.
what's the other game tomorrow night?
They're all tomorrow.
Or what's the night? What's the 2
Phillies
night
Marlins.
games? Phillies Marlins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you want the Twins and Blue Jays.
But
and
the Rangers with the
D-backs.
Rays, there's not. I mean, those are 2 fan bases that just are on the maybe on the come up, but they're not there yet for me. Like the Phillies are a team that can win the World Series.
So are the Rays.
Maybe.
We're moving to the next
We'll
series.
see.
Enough Rays talk. It's just
Enough Rays talk.
Yeah. Blue
You
Jays
guys
and
are just
Twins.
so butthurt.
Blue
No,
Jays. and-
I'm upset. I'm
You said they can't win a World Series. You have the second best record in baseball since
They
August.
won't win a World Series.
I'm not saying they will either, but I think they have just as good of a shot as the Phillies do.
Blue Jays and
Maybe.
Twins.
I disagree, but maybe.
Me personally, I have the Twins winning in 2 games.
Yeah, I think I said it maybe like 3 weeks ago. I said I was really keen on the Minnesota Twins. You win the. They won a great division, right? A great division of baseball. The AL Central was really good, but
Gritty.
their lineup kind of turned it around, right? And then they had a bullpen who was able to salvage some games. Their starters started to pitch well. I do like the Twins. I agree.
I just think Jorge Lopez and Sonny Gray are too much.
Yeah.
Games 1 and 2. I think they get out of there in 2.
Gosman's going for the Blue Jays, just as good as those 2, if not better. I think the Blue Jays lineup is better, and they've been tested more throughout the year. So I think the Blue Jays will win in 3. going to the NL, we'll do our Phillies pick quick. I think the Phillies will. Yeah.
I think the Marlins. This is one of the worst teams to have ever made the postseason.
And they made it over the Cubs.
And MLB.
Johnny, you better hope to God that your Tampa Bay Rays beat the Rangers.
Why?
You're still talking about the Cubs. We've been eliminated for 3 days.
Yeah,
push it off.
But Tanner's saying that.
Go Bears, go Blackhawks, go Bulls. We're moving on with the Cubs. We don't need it anymore. All right? You're just you're stabbing my heart and you're just twisting right now.
I think the Phillies lose both games by a combined 10 runs.
What? The Phillies?
I mean, not the Phillies. The Marlins lose both games by a combined 10 runs. I think it won't even be close.
Especially with
Alcantara's
out.
Yeah. How do you make the playoffs? Like, how do you have that much? How do you have that great of an ending without literally one of the best pitchers in the MLB?
He wasn't that good this year, though. We'll go to the other side. I think the Brewers kind of can take care of business. I think they might have the best 1-2 punch in all of baseball.
100%.
With I think Corbin Burns. Is it Corbin Burns?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's filthy.
He's so gross.
And plus Willie Adames on the Brewers. I love Willie Adames.
You're a big Willie Adames.
He played for the Rays. He was awesome.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Brewers. I hate picking them.
Mm-hmm.
But they just find a way to win baseball games. Like they're down and then they come back. Like it's just they're very well coached, right? Like Collins is a hell of a manager, and so I like the Brewers there.
Then who you got quickly?
I've actually got the Diamondbacks in 3 because the way this series is set up, pitching matchup wise, Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly will be pitching games 2 and game 3 if necessary. And I think that the Brewers will win game 1, but the D-backs will take care of games 2 and 3. So I actually have the Diamondbacks getting upset.
All right, we're going to get into the divisional series. Again, I'm going to stick with my Rays. Baltimore is really good. You don't win 101 games by accident. I just don't think playoff experience is a real thing. And the Rays have been there for 5 straight years. And when you get into a series like that, I just like the Rays in that situation. I think their bullpen, Baptista, is out. He was the best pitcher in all baseball until he got hurt. He's out until 2025, and I think that really hurts the depth of the Orioles. So I like the Rays over the Orioles. And then this is kind of a popular pick of the Astros not to go to the ALCS, so I almost changed it. But I just think the Blue Jays are, I don't know, they've been underperforming forever now since they've had this core. I really think this is the year that they can break through. So I have the Blue Jays over the Astros in 5.
That'd be cool, right? Like the Blue Jays being good and making a postseason stretch is good for baseball, right? So I'm gonna disagree with the Rays just a little bit. I really like this Orioles team because I feel like they might be maybe 1 or 2 years early, right? Maybe that's a crazy take, but with how many young guys they have, we always talk about this. And especially in baseball, you do have down years where you're completely rebuilding. And the Orioles obviously went through that
two
for
years,
a very long time.
Within 2 years, they lost 100 games and won 100.
Exactly.
It's
so
very impressive.
Which makes you think they're obviously maybe a little early, but at the same time, maybe they're not. Because that's how easy it is to flip a switch in the MLB. You have your guys that just get good all of a sudden and whatnot. But I like the Orioles here. I think they have just a lot of dudes that just know how to play baseball the right way. They are a team that is a ton of fun to watch, and I like the Orioles in that. And then I love your take about the Blue Jays. The Astros are just.
I like that one of us.
The Astros is really good
because they're built for this.
But I'm all in if the Blue Jays do beat the Astros, because although the Astros didn't affect me when they cheated. It's just like it's a baseball. They hurt baseball fans, right?
Yeah.
They hurt the game of baseball. So if the Astros lose, oh well. But I think they're really good.
Yeah.
So,
all right. For the Orioles Rays, I am not a believer in the Orioles starting pitching.
Yeah, they do not have good starting pitching now.
So I'm going to take the Rays. I'm taking the Rays in 4 games. I think the Rays go back. I think they steal one on the road. They go back to the Trop, take care of business.
So you're saying the Trop's going to be rocking?
I'm not saying that.
You're saying the Trop's going to be rocking?
all 25,000 of them.
No, they opened up your
they're opening up roof.
We're getting to 28.
Oh my god.
Enough with the Rays. Up
He's
to
just
the other
really
one.
butthurt, man.
Up to the next one. So first of all, the Blue Jays have been underperforming, and just because they're due doesn't mean they're going to do it. The Blue Jays are going to lose to the Twins, as I said earlier. I have the Twins beating the Astros in 4. The Twins will go into Houston. They will steal a game because they have good starting pitching. And then the Twins will come back home in cold weather and beat the Astros. So I have Twins versus Rays in the ALC.
It'll be a little chilly.
It is supposed to get chilly this weekend.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's go quick for the NL. I have the Braves over the Phillies, rematch last year, but I think the Braves, last year I think they got, not complacent, but didn't take the off days as a benefit to them. I think this year they will, and I think they're win handily. I have them in 4, and then I have the Dodgers over the Brewers. Again, I really like that Brewers team, but because their top 2 will be starting the wild card, means they probably won't be available to game 2 or 3. That might be too late already. Yeah. So I'll take the Dodgers. Even though I'm also concerned about the Dodgers starting pitching depth, similar to the Orioles, but yeah, I like them.
No, I agree, because you talk about the Dodgers, they lost a starting pitcher, right? Like, they lost him, right?
Yeah, they lost who? They lost Gonsolin early.
And then they just lost
Urias. Oh,
yeah, obviously.
And then Walker Buehler still Tommy John. But
I love this lineup for the Dodgers, right? Like, Mookie Betts, going to be runner-up, most likely an MVP. Probably 100% guaranteed, right? And I like Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman's one of my favorite baseball players.
Jason Hayward.
Could care less, honestly. I like the Dodgers against the Brewers. I like the Phillies over the Braves. I'm kind of sick and tired of watching Braves baseball, right? They're just. I know why he's mad. I know why he's mad.
He's mad because he beat the Cubs.
No, yes and no. I think he's also partly mad because of the stolen base.
Oh, I was going to get into it. So
okay, I won't talk about it.
Yeah,
Nope, I won't talk about it. I'm just sick and tired of watching the Braves, right? They're so good that I was big on the Phillies before the season started. Like, 162 games ago, I had the Phillies winning the World Series.
What? You know who I was big on? The Padres.
Those are hot take.
At the time, it was awesome.
But I have the Phillies over the Braves, and Tanner, you have the 4.
So starting with the D-backs and Dodgers, not a believer in the Dodgers pitching. Playoff baseball is about pitching. The D-backs have more pitching. I'm taking Arizona in 5. And outside from the COVID year, the Dodgers, guess what they do every year? They choke. All they do is choke. So give me the D-backs. Phillies and Braves. To blooper the Brave. The Atlanta Braves and that stupid mascot. I hope Blooper the Brave. I hope Blooper the Brave. I hope Ronald Acuna Jr.
No, don't say anything crazy.
That no sportsmanship, classless.
Tanner,
just
when you become one of 5 people to steal 70 bases, I don't care if what day it is.
And the 10th inning of a big game, you can miss.
I would have grabbed that base and be like,
and then you play a 2.5-minute video montage in the 10th inning of a big baseball game. I hope Ronald Acuna Jr. goes 15 with 14 strikeouts. The one ball he puts in play, I hope he gets robbed by a home run by Brandon Marshall. Phillies in 4.
Anyway, we'll go on.
You're riling him up. I blame this.
I love it.
I
love it. We'll go to the championship series. Again, I'm gonna stick with the Rays. I think they're built for October with their pitching and defense, so I think they'll outlast the Blue Jays. I think the Rays are especially kind of built for a 7-game series more so than the Blue Jays. And then in the NL, I think the Dodgers, kind of what Tanner was saying, break through over the Braves. They have 3 straight 101 seasons. That's impressive. And in the playoffs, I'm taking Mookie and Freddie over Ronald and Matt Olson. And they both played in huge games. And I think their starting pitching would be just enough, so give me the Dodgers.
Yeah, I like the Astros to advance the World Series.
I don't hate that, and I'm very happy one of us picked them because
they're just so good. And here's the thing, you know what the Astros and the Dodgers truthfully have done this entire year? Mm-hmm. They've flown under the radar.
Exactly.
Right? They have completely flown under the radar because when we started doing 2 episodes a week and we started looking at maybe stats more, or maybe looking at standings more than. Now I was looking at it 4 times a day, right? It was like, oh my gosh, the Dodgers are 15 games up in the division and they're already at 80 wins, right? Like they just came out of nowhere. They were just a great baseball team the whole year. Same with the Astros. So that's why I have the Astros advancing to the World Series.
Are you saying the Dodgers-Astros rematch?
I don't. Okay. I have the Phillies. I was keen on them before the season. I love Bryce Harper getting so animate on that ejection. I really like this Phillies team. I think there's just a ton of studs. I don't know how the pitching is going to
Yeah, it's all about pitching.
manage in October, but they're going to be able to put up some runs.
Yeah.
So the bullpen can do their job. I like Phillies, Astros World Series. Did you pick?
Rematch. It's a rematch of last year.
Yeah.
Rematch of last year.
Did you pick?
No, we didn't do World Series. Should we do World Series pick?
I haven't even picked my ALCS or NLCS.
do it.
Sorry.
I have the Twins beating the Rays in 6 games.
Oh yeah, you got on your Acuna.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I have the Twins beating the Rays in 6 games and advancing to the World Series. And then I have the Phillies hosting the D-backs in a 7-gamer. And I have the Phillies sweeping the D-backs. It's October, which means Kyle Schwarber's going to hit bombs.
He
And I
hits
can't
bombs all the time.
I can't wait. He does all the time, but
He
October.
hit so many this year.
He hits so many more than
Yeah.
October.
Quick.
So Phillies Twins.
World
Phillies
Series.
Twins World Series.
That's fun. I'll have the Dodgers over Rays rematch of 2020 in 6. Again, I have the Dodgers winning. I think that's kind of where the Rays' lack of pitching depth, all those injuries catch up to them in another 7-game series. So yeah, I think the Dodgers kind of break through again in a non-COVID season. Win.
So Dodgers.
Dodgers.
There we go. Phillies.
Phillies.
Trey
get their
Turner.
revenge.
Trey Turner found himself, right?
He's the big.
There
X
was
factor.
a point there from April to, truthfully, mid-July where we were like, "Where's the Trey Turner that was in the World Baseball Classic?"
Mhm.
Right? And he's back.
Yeah.
Like he's back. So I think with the Phillies lineup, I have them winning the World Series, and I did in April. So
Yeah, you gotta stick with it.
that's
You
partly
gotta stick
why
with
I'm
it.
picking them.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
gotta
know
stick
if they're
with
the best team. They're definitely on paper,
But-
maybe one of the best teams.
This is what makes I think baseball postseason is kind of like March Madness. The best team doesn't always win.
Yeah.
That's what's awesome. Again, the urgency of play baseball has is awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going with the Phillies here. I think this is the 2nd straight year that the team that lost in the World Series comes back and wins it the next year. They lost in the World Series last year, come back, win it this year.
Yep.
I have them beating the Minnesota Twins in 5 games. I have the Phillies closing it out in Philadelphia.
I want 7. I truthfully want 7.
just as
Game
a-
7s are just
as a
electric
neutral
sports.
And we're finally going to get to NFL. Tanner and I's little rampage right there. Took us a little long.
It was okay.
But the first game I want to talk about, Bills Dolphins, biggest game of the weekend. Stephon Diggs showed up. Miami obviously was going to take a step back, but
3 tuds.
That's
I
big
mean,
time.
3 tuds. And you know what? Josh Allen's back.
it
I
is.
mean, truthfully,
Yeah.
you know, and I was a little nervous there for the first couple weeks. I'm like, you know, because you watch Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
he has not progressed, right?
and we'll get to that.
And now Josh Allen's back, so I love the Bills now. And yeah, you knew the Dolphins were going to take a step back. You can't score 70
Yeah.
and do it again.
Definitely
So
agree.
I was kind of shocked by this result. I thought it would be a close game, really good game. Josh Allen, man, big game. Stephon Diggs,
So good.
big game. Devin A. Chain, 8 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns.
again,
I mean, what a stud.
yeah.
I think the Dolphins are gonna be fine. I just
Yeah.
think this is a Bills team that is hot. They are on fire right now. I gotta say, just a quick disclaimer. I'm frustrated myself because I knew one of the AFC juggernauts would miss the postseason, and I was debating the Bengals or Bills, and I picked the Bills, and I should have picked the Bengals.
Yeah, that's
Well,
a
the
tough
Bills
decision,
look
though.
good.
Yeah, they look good. I want to quickly talk about the Bucks. None of us picked them to win last week, and I mean, what they did was impressive. Their defense is legit. Antoine Winfield Jr. is really good. He's legit. I know you guys were watching the Bears game, but he had 2 or 3 huge plays that really kept him in it. Baker, 3 touchdowns, man.
Yeah.
Keeps extending plays. He had 4 or 5 huge scrambles for first downs. Just really impressed with him so far. Something that Tom Brady couldn't do. I'm not on a first name basis.
Tom.
Basis. Tom Brady.
Tom.
Brady couldn't do. So yeah, really impressed with the Bucks. They're going to be in first place heading into their bye.
Yeah, it is impressive what the Bucks have been able to do. Very disappointed with the Saints. I didn't think
Derek Carr. I mean,
I didn't
yes,
think there was a way the Bucks could have won that game.
Derek Carr. You really underrated the Bucks defense. Derek Carr with his shoulder being what it is,
Yeah, he looked
didn't
awful.
even look downfield.
He looked awful.
He
He
looked
looked
really
awful.
bad, and not like
With the healthy Derek Carr, the game's different. But
He's
the Bucks also
healthy.
look very good.
They did. Their defense is
So-
good. Their Vita Vea is still.
It is. Vita Vea, Washington.
Dog.
Do you want to talk about the Bucks at all, or are you
To be honest,
want to move on?
I don't have anything to say about that.
How was that Toy Story game?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I liked
That's my take.
because you're 22 years
Stupid.
old.
Here's the thing: if I'm 4 years old, I could care less what's going on TV.
I'm eating that up.
Make it Nickelodeon again, because that was cool.
They still have that.
That was cool.
I,
This was awful.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm gonna say it because I don't think it's that whatever. I saw a tweet. You guys might have seen it too. they were like, imagine if something like the DeMar Hamlin thing happened during the Toy Story game. And I'm like, that's a great question. Because that sometimes football can get a little intense. And maybe it's just not meant for every 4-year-old. So bringing it to Toy Story, it's like Toy Story and Taylor Swift. Why are they in NFL?
Don't get me started.
Oh, I'm done. I would never listen to another Taylor Swift song.
I won't say.
All right, I'm gonna. This is almost kind of like a would you rather. I'm gonna implement it myself and be quick. Not a would you rather segment, but like I'm gonna say some things and you say yes or no.
Okay.
Lions have the NFC North on lock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rams will make the playoffs as an NFC wild card.
Yeah, I think the NFC
Yeah, well, I mean, they get Cooper
is
Cup back too.
and the NFC is not a deep division, especially with the Giants kind of struggling. Another one of the wildcard teams. Yeah.
And Puka just keeps
he's awesome.
hooping. I mean,
The Houston Texans are a wagon and can win that division.
Yeah, no, they 100% can. CJ Stroud looks like rookie Justin Herbert, and
Yeah.
he's a stud.
yeah, he's already thrown for over like 1,200
Yeah,
yards.
he's awesome.
Four
And again,
games.
there's that stigma about the Ohio State quarterback. Both the Ohio State quarterbacks, the big ones, look good over the weekend.
And then my final one, Niners and Eagles will both be undefeated when they play each other December 3rd.
Ooh, I'll go no to that one, just because the Eagles almost lost at home to Washington.
Niners, yes. I think.
I don't know. Niners get Cowboys this weekend. It's a fun game.
The Cowboys are an interesting team to talk about a little bit. I think the Niners do go into that game undefeated, but I don't think the Eagles do. They show some signs of they're not fully clicking yet in the early stages. But
Before we get to the Niners, I want to talk about the Lions one more time. Shout out my one of my AAU kids, Owen Kirchner, who's a big Lions fan. I think we all thought that
you have
Green
a
Bay.
kid in Florida who's a Detroit Lions fan?
Yeah, his family's from Michigan. Shout out all the Kirchners. But they going into Green Bay, they beat Green Bay 4 straight times. I mean, it's really impressive what Dan Campbell did. They came over and that place was in shambles. And he completely turned around.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, man, is really impressed with the Lions. David Montgomery must hurt for you guys. 3 touchdowns, over 120 yards, just really impressive for them. But
digging in on us.
it's
getting personal.
We must be easy targets.
I think we are. Well, we root for some of the worst teams in sports. So, I mean, they took care of it. But you know what? Jordan Love looked like he was awful, right? So that's an interesting.
You got another game, Tanner?
We might as well just talk about Broncos and the Bears. We might as well.
Real quick, go in.
I wanted to talk real quick.
We're not going to talk about the Broncos.
The Baltimore Ravens, I should ask you guys this. The Baltimore Ravens are going to win that division.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We talked about earlier, they have the best supporting cast that they've had in a long time around Lamar.
I mean, Zay Flowers is a stud. Right?
And Odell didn't even play.
Yeah.
Cleveland didn't allow a home touchdown yet. And they went in and
They had a lot of
touchdowns.
I think my thing with the Ravens is anytime they get in a big divisional game, especially over the last couple of years, like they always just come to play. And I mean, it showed again yesterday on Sunday. Like the Ravens, they come to play in AFC North divisional games, and they have so far through the big ones. I love this Ravens team. They're so good, so underrated.
I love it.
Under the radar.
When I was a kid, man, I used to grow up watching the Ravens in the playoffs against Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And Joe Flacco threw that bomb to beat Denver. Who's the kick returner guy? Jacoby Jones.
Jacoby Jones.
That's awesome, man. I love big Ravens.
Back in the heyday.
Yeah, man. You can go into the Bears real quick.
So the Bears, the last 14 games, have given up 36 points per game.
That's a great stat.
That is very hard to win with. I haven't been one. I know you've been very harsh on Justin Fields, and you have.
I burned his jersey.
I stayed very even keel on him. I never really was hateful towards him, and I'm glad I never was, because I figured he would figure it out at some point. Now, granted, it's just one game. Justin Fields looks really good. Career game. 335 yards, 4 touchdowns. At one point, he was 25 for 26. His only incompletion was a Hail Mary.
Yeah. No, he looked
Matt Eberflus, man, if the Bears didn't play on Thursday night this week, he would have gotten fired today.
You're hoping.
Instead, the Bears will lose Thursday night and he will get fired Friday morning. So Matt Eberflus is done. Just to compare this losing streak, it's my very last thing
This
on
is
the
a great
Bears.
stat right here.
The Bears losing streak in college basketball, shout out to my dad, he gave me this, would be a 25 straight game losing streak. In the NBA, this Bears losing streak would be 67 straight games. And in the MLB, this losing streak would be 130 straight
The equivalent
losses.
to that is crazy. I mean, it's literally losing an entire season.
Yeah.
16, and it's tough.
All right, I'm going to talk about Justin because I just previously burned his jersey a couple episodes ago. It's still in the pit, Like it's still in the fire pit.
Outline is there.
Replaceable.
But I'm starting like looking on NFL.com for maybe a new one. But here's the thing. I got to be critical. He looked very good for 3 quarters, and I would never blame this loss on him because it's not. Okay, the 4th down, I don't disagree going for it. You don't hand the ball off to Khalil Herbert.
Keep the ball in your best player.
You don't do it. You don't do it. You don't do it. Don't do it. I don't understand it at all. Kick the field goal or let Justin go make a play. End all, right? But my only issue with Justin, right? The pick, whatever. That's just unfortunate. That's how the Bears have been, right? Like a stupid play like that just happens. The interception, it's a bad ball, but you're trying to force something into it, trying to get down the field, whatever. The issue that I had was that in the last quarter of play, he was just hitting his check down every time. Every time.
You think the completion percentage got in his head?
I don't think the completion percentage got in his head.
No,
I think,
mistake.
here's the thing. You watch Justin Fields for 3 quarters of play, he was so confident. He was stepping back in the pocket, and he was throwing it, right?
Sidearm.
He was doing things
The
that he
entire
did.
Bears organization was playing with confidence.
Yeah.
Even Eberflus.
I told
confidence.
shout out to Trevor Montiel, we were sitting here watching the game. We looked at each other and we were like, man, have you seen the Bears smile this much on the sideline?
Yeah,
Right? Next thing you know, the Broncos tie it, or they're even just a touchdown away. Everyone's like, man, now we have a football game.
Yeah.
Right? And here's the issue. Justin Fields went out there. I don't know if the receivers were open, right? Because the TV angles kind of suck low-key if you think about it. But it was just like, check down, check down, check down, check down. And I'm like, okay, I know he's not stat padding. I've never accused Justin Fields of stat padding. But I think the confidence level wasn't there.
Yeah.
He wasn't willing to chuck it down to DJ Moore during opportunity to go get a ball.
To work off your point, I thought that the play calling the first 3 quarters was absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
That was an offense we hadn't seen yet this year, and it was amazing. I thought we took the ball out of Justin Fields' hands way too much that 4th quarter. I get you're trying to run the ball. Khalil Herbert was having success, and you're trying to ice that clock. But, man, when Justin Fields is playing with that much confidence, don't take the ball out of his hands.
Yeah.
And then that fumble, I'm not blaming that fumble on him. I mean, you just ran a complete play-action boot with the backside.
Well, and in the first 3 quarters, we didn't run any play actions because the entire game we didn't want his back to be turned.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he turns his back and they let a defensive end just smoke right through. And next thing you know, the game's tied.
But you would hope that Justin Fields looked good against that Broncos defense.
Yeah.
They're so bad.
That's why I drafted him.
Man, are they bad.
But,
man, are they
yeah,
bad.
we're going to get into our legendary and
Hold on.
Shambles this week.
Do you have the fantasy?
That's
from
next
It's not done
episode.
yet. So I got some going tonight. Monday Night
Yeah.
Football.
Anyway, we'll go to our legendary and in Shambles. Let me say this for the record. I wish the Cubs were in the playoffs because I don't think anything's better than big markets playing in the playoffs. Red Sox, Cubs,
Great.
Yankees.
He's digging more into us.
I know. I'm serious. I just want to
Congratulations.
put that. I just want to put that on the record. Anyway, my legendary. Shout out to my sister. She gave me this one. The Las Vegas Aces showing love to the women again. They're in the 2nd straight finals. Asia Wilson, dog. But yeah, they're playing the Liberty. Miranda Stork, who's at UConn, won 4 straight national championships there. So
Didn't the Aces sweep too?
yeah, no, the Aces are good, man. They're looking for their 2nd straight. And are we gonna go both right off the bat?
Yeah, go ahead.
And my Shambles is the Carolina Panthers. I think they're in the worst spot out of any, not maybe one of the 3 worst spots out of any football team right now because Bryce Young looks small and just not what he looked like at Alabama. They don't own their own draft pick this year. The Bears, yes. And the Drew Brees did not have a good start out to his NFL career. And I think that's his ceiling. Bryce Young, his ceiling is Drew Brees. But yeah, I think Carolina Panthers are officially in Shambles, one of the 2 0-4 teams.
Teacher, I'll let you go because I always go second.
And Shambles, I'm gonna go with the Chicago Cubs. All right. I'm a Cubs fan. I was telling them before we went on camera. The Cubs are my favorite team. Out of all my favorite teams, they're my favorite. Okay. I started watching them when I was very, very young, and I watch every game, no matter how good or bad. And this was probably one of my favorite Cubs seasons I have ever watched. And for it to end like that is just so painful. And so in Shambles, I had the Cubs and Cub fans. Legendary moment. I'm gonna probably steal this one. Actually, no. I'm gonna leave this for you if you want it. You see that there? Okay.
No, you can have it.
No. Because I want to talk
I'm
about.
not.
I want to talk about Khalil Mack.
You can have 2.
6 sacks. All right, Khalil Mack 6 sacks. Sam Hartman 4th and 16 wrong.
It's huge.
That's my legendary
Yeah,
moment.
no, it's fair. Legendary. You know how you said legendary was us being here in person that one time. I'm gonna do something like that. Okay. October marks in my opinion, besides March, one of the greatest times to be a sports fan. Okay? And for us as sports, literally, like, we love sports, right? It is the greatest time. Playoff baseball, hockey starting, and Connor Bedard, by the way, is looking unreal. Anyway, basketball is about to get going, right? Football, it's just getting going. So, sports fans and everything, if you love sports, this is the time to be locked in. So for us, our legendary moment is it's October. So, and then in Shambles, I'm gonna go with the USA golf team. Okay.
Shout out Tanner, man.
I'm very good pick.
T-shirt was right.
Still anti-America, but whatever. I'm very happy with like how they fought back, but they put themselves in a hole. I think after day one they were down like 6.5, maybe 6.5 to 1.5, and going against a very strong European golf team. So I just hate losing, right? And I associate the USA men's golf team with me because I'm American, right? And so like, I hate when we lose. I hated when our basketball team lost to Germany. I hate when our soccer teams lose.
It's rough.
So that's my Shambles.
And we're gonna end it there. If you made it this far, subscribe, like the video, keep joining us on our journey, and we'll see you guys on Friday.
Ronald Acuna, I hate you.